In this video, which we're going to call Another Story Time with John from HAWG Holsters, we're going to take a look at and kind of get his take on a product you've seen on the channel before, the PTAP, which is Pistol Trigger Action Protector. Well, I got it right. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name is Brian. Thanks for joining me and John Abbott from HAWG Holsters here. And I got to say, by the way, thanks to Olight for lighting this video. Literally, we've got like some flashlights and some glasses shining up at the ceiling to try to add light to it, because we tried this a while back and the lighting was bad in the hotel room. So anyway, we're here, and John has bought one of the first Glock 48s on the market, because that's what you have to do if you make holsters. You got to buy guns just so you'll have a mold to make a mold for the holster. So there's a pretty good initial investment for everything you got to do here. But you got this one here with the PTAP installed on it, and as you can see, it's a trigger protector basically, right? Yep. So and you know, my first thoughts when I saw this, and the reason I think I talked to you about it, I was looking at some place that had those, those little holsters, those little clips that go on here that you don't use a holster. And my thought was, this guy that was selling these things, I was like, dude, you're putting this in your pocket with an open trigger on a Glock? And he's like, well, you can get a little thing, but they didn't have. I was like, okay. So anyway, I talked to John. John said, no, I've got one of those. So you probably can explain. You got more uses for it. You thought this thing through a lot more than me, and kind of, I guess, just tell everybody kind of what you told me and what your thoughts are, and why you think it's so important.
Number one, why I think it's important is this. I like to carry a firearm that does not have a manual on and off switch, also known as safety. Well, while we're talking about safety, I want to say this. Safety is not a switch on your firearm. It is a behavior.
There you go.
How you act. Safety is a behavior, and it is a learned behavior. Being safe and flipping a gun on and off safe are two different things. It's an on and off switch. We don't have it. Okay. Number one, I like to carry. I carry Glock pistols. They do not have a manual safety, and I like that. I've been told stories about police officers that have been involved in shootings and their firearm had a safety. They pulled the trigger a couple of times successfully in getting rounds to go down range, but not necessarily hitting the target. Something happens, they get knocked down, they fall down, the safety gets turned back on, and they may die pulling the trigger thinking it's jammed, but what happened was the safety got clicked back into the on position, rendering their gun useless as long as they didn't realize it was on safe. So the thing of it is, with the PTAP, Pistol Trigger Action Protector from holsters, what I do is I think about it this way. Number one, there's a lot of people that are older and have arthritis, okay, and they can't necessarily rack a gun real easy, okay. Well, with the PTAP there, I can't accidentally pull that trigger. It's on there, and the way to install it, I'll show you real quickly, is by taking it, putting it underneath the firearm, reaching over the top and putting it on like that. That's the proper and correct way to install a PTAP, okay? Number two, once it's on there, you can drop the magazine, rack around out of the chamber if there's in there. See, there's not one for safety, but that's how you can do it. The next thing you can do, very simply, is you can insert a magazine and you can rack it. And of course, it would go forward if there was rounds in there, and rack it, let it go forward. And what you've just done is you've loaded the firearm, but there's no way in the world you can accidentally pull that trigger. Okay? So at night at my house, there is a Glock 19 on the nightstand. Okay? It's got night sights. I can see it. There's one on my wife's nightstand. We don't have any children. We have a dog, but we don't have any children, so we don't have to worry about little hands grabbing it. If we had to do that, we'd put it in the safe. But very simply, this is attached to an eye hook in the back of the nightstand. Can't see it. It's there, but during the day, but we put it on the firearm, and it's there. In the middle of the night, if we needed our firearm, all we'd have to do is grab it, and we're ready to go. We reach over in the middle of the night to grab an iPhone, hit the alarm, hit snooze, do whatever, reach over for medicine or whatever. We can't accidentally pull that trigger. It's like that. We can't pull the trigger. It's not going to happen. But if we need it, it's there. Now, people say, well, your gun doesn't have a safety on it. Hey, this has a safety on it. As safeties go, trigger can't be pulled when this is on it.
Right.
But when it's off, the safety can't get put back on without a deliberate action. Right. So if I was to get knocked down, my firearm's still ready to go. Now, Where all can this be used? People say, well, you carry it around your neck. I don't recommend carrying a gun around your neck. I'm not going to lie. Now, if you were in a shower in a campground, a friend of mine told me, and you know, you're in the shower in a campground, who knows what come in, a bear, whatever, you've got it around your neck, okay, maybe. But that'd be the only time to do that, you know, because you're in there in your neck and you're in the campground. You don't know who's going to come in. Might be some meth heads or, you know, whatever. That might not be a bad idea. One time I saw John Wayne shoot somebody, I think, from taking a shower. So that works. But the thing of it is it protects this. Now it goes in a backpack. You can tie it off. Like you said, with that clip draw is the product I think you're talking about. Goes on the side. I've used one of those before. I can tell you this. This on that trigger guard is going to keep it from pulling it. You can tie it off around your belt. Wouldn't tie it around a belt loop because when you pull it, they come off pretty aggressively. Yeah. You can pull your belt loop and you just look like a goofball. But the thing of it is this protects your trigger until you remove it, and like you can put it in a safe with it on there, fasten it again the next night. I happen to know some older people that keep that on their safe, on their gun and in the safe, but they attach this to something in case they ever have to pull it, and it makes it where they don't have to worry about racking the firearm every time, you know, and all of that to put it in the safe. And it keeps their firearm ready for them so they're safe, right, without the possibility of pulling the trigger.
Cool. And the other thing, one thing that I know you make these for a lot of different firearms. And so like small pocket pistols,
yeah,
I see a lot more people, I think, carrying pocket pistols now. It seems like a really popular thing. And something like this, if you got it in just carrying it in your pocket, some of the holsters, they make holsters that do that, but they also take up a little bit more room. And sometimes if you try to pull it out, the holster comes out, you know, it's not any good. So if the same thing, you tie that on your belt, just like the clip draw, right? You're carrying a little pocket pistol, you can do the same thing with it.
The one thing about it is there are some firearms that the trigger guard is not conducive to this type of thing. Right. So if you look on my website, if you look on my website and you don't see one for your gun, shoot me an email. And if I make a holster for that gun, there's a very good possibility I make one for it. You might be disappointed if you get an email saying, hey, because of the trigger guard design, it's not conducive to that, because there's certain characteristics the trigger guard needs to have before I can make you one. But you call me, you know, if I can make it, I'll try it, and I might make one and say, hey, here's the deal, I'll send it to you, you be the dummy, and if it works, you know, pay for it.
By the way, if you can save 10% on any order over $30 to HAWG Holsters by using the code Survival on Purpose, all one word, all caps, all one word, and I think John will even kick in the free shipping for you. So is that right? Did I get that right? Am I costing you money here?
No, I always ship free.
Okay, and so he ships like yesterday. I don't know how he does it, man. He's got a time machine or something. It's amazing. So anyway, that's kind of the story behind, and some you know, I always kind of like to go to the if I can go to the person who actually created something and to you know, what their thought, who sells the thing, to find out what their thoughts are on it. So anyway, plus I just like hanging out with John, so I hopefully let you hang out with us for a little bit too. So thanks for watching Survival on Purpose, and remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. My name is Brian. I'll see you next time. I got that all backwards, didn't I?